Here we have question 6 of the same 2013 maths exam, and this question involves surds. And it says if the square root of 50 minus k root 8 equals 2 over root 2, find k. So this question involves surds and it's asking us to make k, in other words, make k the subject of the formula, subject of the equation. And that will have been a topic you've covered, but just to start with, especially with surds, you're going to be dealing with a lot of square roots, and there's an important, let's call it a rule, that you need to be familiar with. So if you have an expression, a square root of a number or variable times the square root of another number or variable, you can simplify this to give the square root of the product of the numbers. So square root of n times square root of m equals square root of n times m, where n and m are real numbers, or they could just be variables. So if you had square root of 2 times square root of 2, you have the square root of 2 times 2, which is the square root of 4. Another example, square root of 3 times square root of 4 equals the square root of 3 times 4, which is the square root of 12. So there you go. Anyway, so moving on to the question, all we have to do is just make k the subject of the formula. So we proceed. The key thing here will be to realize that what the aim of changing the subject of the formula is. So making a variable, like in this case k, the subject of the formula, can be thought of as rewriting the given formula equation, in this case, in the form k equals something, i.e. you isolate k on one side of the equation. So conventionally, you isolate k on the left-hand side of the equation, and every other term will be on the right-hand side. But you have to do this according to the rules of maths. You have to do this without you have to do this whilst maintaining the equality. So I'll show you what I mean. We have this expression. You want to go to this form. You want to go here. The idea is always to move terms that are not k to the right hand side, and by either using addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So using those operations. So to start with, why not just move root 50 to the right hand side? And we can do this by just simply taking root 50 over the equality sign to the right hand side and making sure to change the sign to a negative sign, or just subtract root 50 from both sides. So the left hand side will now be minus k root 8, because I've subtracted root 50 from the left hand side. So I guess to avoid skipping a step, I'll show you the subtraction. So root 50 minus k root 8. So I'm subtracting root 50 from the left hand side, and I'm also doing the same to the right hand side. You must have come across the idea of always doing the same thing when modifying equation, doing the same thing to the left hand side and right hand side. And just in case some of you don't understand why you have to do that, just imagine you have, say, 2 baskets with so you have 2 bags of rice, for instance. So put one on the left and one on the right. If I add let's say 1 kilogram of rice to one bag. Let's say initially the 2 bags of rice had the same amount of rice, and I add 1 kilogram of rice to the bag on the left hand side. They will no longer be equal. So I can no longer use the equal to sign. If I was like, I can no longer use the equal to sign unless I add the same amount of rice to the right hand side bag, and all of a sudden you've maintained equality. So if you do something to one side, you have to do something to the other side of an equal to sign to maintain the equality. So simplifying, root 50 minus root 50 is 0. Any number subtracted from itself is 0. So we have this now. So I mean, a logical step will be to simplify the right hand side. So you wanna, so say starting from 2 root 2 minus root 50, you wanna kind of simplify this. And I mean, I like to handle addition and subtraction involving like fractions by rewriting the expression such that both fractions have, I mean, root 50 is the same thing as root 50 over 1, so you can call it a fraction, but fractions have the same denominator. So I like to think of root 50 over 1 as being root 50 over 1 times 1. And I'll like to rewrite 1 as root 2 over 2. Why? Because root 2 over 2 is 1, but because once I do that, I have the same denominator on both sides. So you see this will be more obvious now when I simplify this expression. So this gives root 50 times root 2, which is root 50 times 2, which is, okay, let me just take it step by step. So from what I showed you initially, root n times root m is root n times m, which is what I've just done, which is what I just did here. But now you can see both fractions have the same denominator, and when adding or subtracting fractions with the same denominator, all you have to do is just apply the relevant operation, in this case subtraction, to the numerators, and the denominator remains the same. That's always true with fractions. So simplifying the expression in the square root, 50 times 2 is 100. So we have this, which is 2 minus 10 over root 2, which is equal to minus 8 over root 2. So going back, this right hand side is all we just simplified. So minus k root 8 is equal to the right hand side, which is now this. So I can write minus k root 8 equals minus 8 over root 2. So remember, we're trying to isolate k on the left hand side. So one thing we could do is get rid of the minus sign by multiplying both sides by minus 1. So multiply through by minus 1. So we're doing the same thing to the left hand side and right hand side to maintain equality. So the minus k root 8 times minus 1 is k root 8. And minus 8 over root 2 times minus 1 is 8 over root 2. Therefore, k, I mean, now we can divide both sides by root 8. So, I mean, let me show you step by step. K root 8 divided by root 8 equals 8 root 2 divided by root 8. This cancels this. I mean, root 8 and root 8 is 1. But I'm sure you're used to the method where you just cancel the same terms in the numerator and denominator. And so that gives 8 over root 2. I'm going to change the division sign to a multiplication sign. And you know, whenever you do that, the term following the division sign has to be, you have to take the reciprocal of the term following the division sign. So the reciprocal of root 8 is 1 over root 8. Reciprocal just means of a number, or of a fraction just means, by the way, root 8 is root 8 of 1. So the reciprocal just means you swap the positions of the denominator and the numerator, which is what I've done here. It's a very simple concept. So finally, you have 8 times 1, 8, divided by root 2 times root 8, which is root 2 times 8, which is 16. And root 16 is 4. 8 over 4 is 2. And that's your answer. That's what k is. So k is the subject of the formula now because we have k equals 2. K equals 2. And that's what it is. So thank you. If you like my videos, leave a positive comment and like and share on social media. Thank you.